Consciousness is the basis of life. The body or the mind is said to be living only when they are conscious of their objects. However, the consciousness of the mind and the body may remain dormant and inactive, while that conscious can be active in the body and in the mind. For example, when we sleep, the consciousness of the body and the mind remain dormant. They too go to sleep. Therefore, we are not dead when we sleep. Dead means complete removal of the consciousness from the body and the mind. In fact, it is the mind that becomes conscious of the physical consciousness of the body. For example, when the eye is conscious of an object, the mind becomes conscious of it. When the ear becomes conscious of a sound, the mind becomes aware. That is because the physical organs of the body send electromagnetic signals to the mind. That is how the mind becomes conscious of physical contacts, bodily contacts, while we are living and not asleep. The consciousness that the unenlightened being experiences is a mental phenomenon made of electricity and magnetism. Therefore, consciousness of the mind and the body is an electromagnetic activity. That is with regard to the unenlightened. With regard to the enlightened one, enlightened beings, they are both body and the mind are devoid of magnetism. But the body and the mind of the enlightened beings work through pure electricity, with demagnetized electricity. That is why the enlightened mind is free of magnetic mental activity called likes and dislikes, attachment or resentment. That is the magnetic attraction and repulsion. Enlightenment means extinction of this magnetic attraction and repulsion that we experience as our likes and dislikes. In Pali, the Buddha's language, our Likes are described as raga, dislikes as dosa. As they happen automatically, without our knowledge, the activity is said to be ignorant. Basis of that activity means ignorance. That means we like or dislike some object, ignorance of the reality. We are ignorant of realities in objects that we experience through sense organs due to the fact that no sense organ is capable of knowing the real nature of any object or any incident. Therefore, we experience mental likes and dislikes through an illusion, where the reality is distorted. This type of mental activity becomes extinct at the Enlightenment. That happens with the experience one has gathered before Enlightenment through Buddhist meditation. In Buddhist meditation, we become, or our sense organs become aware of respective sense objects without liking or disliking them. That means without thinking of them. The Buddhist meditative mind is aware of sensations without thinking. We think of things that we like, dislike, or that we are ignorant of. Therefore, during the Buddhist meditation, the mind practices how to remain without liking, disliking, and ignoring sensation. That means the mind remains alert, and that is referred to as sati in Pali. It can be translated into Sinhala or the English as awareness. In Buddhist, in our day-to-day life, we become aware of so many things, but in Buddhist meditation, we practice wise awareness, and that is called sati sampajanya, knowing through wisdom. That means knowing the reality of the real nature of things that we experience. For example, every experience that we undergo through our sense organs are subject to birth, decay and death. They appear and they disappear. All experiences are dynamic, in a state of transformation. Therefore, no experience can retain a permanent identity. These three aspects of material objects are physical experience, is referred to in the Buddha's language as anicca, dukkha and anatta. Anicca means everything is dynamic, active. Translated into English that word Demagnetised, impermanent. Nothing can remain in the same state because there is a constant transformation of all objects. And that transformation is called dukkhata. Because every object, every itself gets transformed instantly, constantly, nothing can retain a permanent identity. By realizing this nature of things, beings, and events, in Buddhist meditation, one trains oneself to accept things as they are without liking, disliking, and ignoring. That means practicing an enlightened mind called vitaragi, vitadosi, vitamohi, free from attachment, resentment, and ignorance. Thereby, the mind becomes demagnetized. Magnetic attraction and repulsion that we experience as likes and dislikes. And the prejudices caused by likes and dislikes deceiving us with regard to the real nature of things and beings and events that we experience. The demagnetized mind, while in meditation and even after enlightenment, experience things, beings and events in their real nature without attraction, repulsion and ignorance. And such a mind is peaceful, blissful. It is this bliss that is referred to as nirvana that we can experience even in this very life itself without using the magnetic element of our mind and body. Mulapariyaya Sutra, in its last few pages, indirectly say that the mind and body of the enlightened beings are free of magnetism. Magnetism, especially mental and physical magnetism, is referred to in Buddha's language as Vayo Dhatu. Vayo means, the literal meaning is motion, moving. Attraction is a moving, that is mental pulling and pushing. We pull things that we like, we push out things that we dislike. But an enlightened mind accepts things without liking, disliking them. That means without pulling and pushing them. When the mind becomes demagnetized, it loses the magnetic consciousness. But until an enlightened one passes away from this life, the enlightened mind becomes aware of sensation through pure electricity that is demagnetized without the magnetic element, without using the magnetic element. It is this magnetic element that is called vijnana in Pali. Buddha's language refers to 5 aspects of a thought formation: Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. Vijnana is the magnetic element of a thought that gets accumulated in a stream of consciousness, a stream of magnetic power coming from our past and moving into the future, giving us rebirth again and again. Therefore, when one dies, when one dies, he gets reborn in another life through a linking consciousness, referred to in Pali as Patisandhi Vijnana. Patisandhi means linking. Linking this life into another life. That means linking the remnant energy of this life into the next life. That energy is the mental energy that we accumulate. And it can have a relinking to another life only when it is magnetized. Because our mind, our thinking gets activated through electromagnetism until one gets enlightened. Once one is enlightened, that mind functions with pure electricity, with demagnetized electricity. Therefore, it does not accumulate mental energy for rebirth. Therefore, the enlightened are not reborn after passing away from the enlightened life, because they do not have a relinking consciousness of a magnetic mind. It means the final target of a Buddhist life is the extinction of living, while all other religions cater for prolonged life into eternity, in an eternal heaven. Buddhist target is the ending of this life without any more rebirth in this universe. And that is called the ultimate bliss. It is through birth that we undergo all suffering, both mental and physically. It is because of birth we decay, get old, get sick, and become dead bodies at the end, giving mental suffering to our loved ones. Therefore, living is experienced from a Buddhist point of view as a source of suffering. Enlightenment means the ending of mental suffering. That is called Nirvana in Sanskrit, Nibbana in Pali. The final passing away from this life after enlightenment is called Parinibbana in Pali and Parinirvana in Sanskrit. That is the complete cessation of living in a body and in a mind. And that is called vimukti, freedom. That is the final bliss the Buddhists aim at.